Well, first question. Why do we fart? Well, first of all, what is a fart? Well, basically, a fart is just the gas released after water being eaten. Fart is just a gas, alright? It enters the body in two ways. One is digested food and air swallowed. Like when we eat food, it is broken down by stomach acids, bacteria, enzymes, most importantly. And yeah, when it's broken down to provide energy for the body. And when we swallow, such as breathing, when we are stressed, eating, drinking, and when we do any of these regular activities, gas gets in our body. And when it doesn't come out, expelled in a burp, it goes down the digestive system and is ready to come out as a big fart. Now, in other words, they just come out as a bing, kaboom, boom, toot, toot, all sorts of noises, alright? So basically, what is a fart composed of? Well, the main components are carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and sulfur. That's why some gases smell horrible, and they have methane too. That's a horrible smelling gas. So that's basically an introduction to why we fart. Moving on to why do we fart? Going back to why we fart. Well, it's produced as a byproduct of bacterial fermentation, of which you get your energy, right? So that is why you fart basically. There's some interesting facts also about farts. They're not exactly farts, but 99% of farts components are non-smelly. We take oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and methane. Methane is smelly. That's the only smelly gas. And hydrogen, oxygen, and methane. Hydrogen and methane are components of combustion. So if a fart contains enough of that, you can actually light on fire. You can use it to light a fire. Oxygen, you might say, is combustible, but it's a supporter of combustion. It's not combustible, alright? So that's an interesting part about farts. So it's normal. Everybody farts. You can't stop it. There's not exactly a prevention. But there's one more thing. I said nitrogen, which is involved in the fart. You don't produce that as a byproduct. It's there due to excessive swallowing of air, which results in excessive gas. You can't exactly prevent it, but the rate can be reduced. For example, if you have abdominal pain, you will start gassing more. If you're constipated, you will start gassing more. And other stuff. But that's basically why we fart. And I told you about enzymes, and there's these liquids which helps to break down. Well, I didn't exactly have one, but I tried to replicate one, right? This is how it looks. It's brownish. It's slightly less viscous, of course. This is flowing because it's just water and paint and a few other stuff, right? So it's obviously less viscous, but this is how it's supposed to look. Yeah, that's about how an enzyme is supposed to look. And next I'll show you an interesting video.
Everyone has gas. On average, people produce 1 to 4 pints a day. Some gas in the digestive tract comes from air you swallow. Other gas comes from breakdown of undigested food. After you swallow food, it moves down the esophagus to the stomach, where it is partially digested. It moves on into the duodenum and through the rest of the small intestine, where most digestion and absorption occurs. However, a shortage or lack of certain enzymes results in some carbohydrates not being digested and absorbed. Instead, the undigested food passes into the large intestine, where normal, harmless bacteria break it down. Byproducts of this process are hydrogen and carbon dioxide. About a third of people also produce methane for reasons that are not clear.
Well, why do some people's farts smell so bad, whereas some people's fart not very bad as compared to the others? Well, that's because everybody has different bacteria and yeast in their gut that break down the food. So the people whose farts are worse, that's because they have a very foul-smelling bacteria and stuff in them. So yeah, that's why some people's fart is worse and some people's fart is less. However, there are some foods that typically smell horrible, such as cauliflower, beans. Once they're digested, they smell really bad. Then beetroot is a major component, potatoes, and yeah. But also there's this gas which is released, sulfur, that smells like rotten egg, and chicken and pork too, they have a very bad smell after they digest it. So that's why some fart smells very bad and some fart smell like not so bad.
So what is a fart and where does it come from? Well, a fart is simply a gas coming from your intestines. It gets there when you eat, it comes from your blood and from chemical reactions in your body. Farts smell. However, interestingly, only about 1% of your farts are stinky. You produce about half a liter of farts every day. And yes, even though they don't admit it, girls fart too. Oops. Usually farts aren't dangerous. Even if you go into a room full of farts, you won't suffocate. You would have to fart continuously for about 7 years to produce gas with the equivalent energy of an atomic bomb. Another fart fact is that it travels at a speed of 7 miles per hour, and you can actually burn a fart. It's highly flammable, but don't check it yourself. You may get injured. You may burn your clothes. Or what's worse, yourself. For centuries, people believed that holding a fart is very unhealthy. You could catch a horrible disease or get seriously poisoned. Roman Emperor Claudius was so afraid that he passed a law allowing farting in banquets. Nowadays, scientists aren't sure if holding your fart is unhealthy, but allowing your farts travel freely can definitely be very embarrassing. Have you ever heard about brain fart? Yes, it actually exists, but it's probably not what you think. In American slang, it means doing something dumb. Another interesting fart fact is that an Indian tribe in South America called the Yanomami fart as a greeting. Other awesome fact is that in China you can actually get a job as a professional fart smeller. Wow, what a career!